Be hearing me in both the recording and in the live stream if you're here with us at the beginning. Welcome in, everybody. Great to have you, Brianna or BB Gonzi. I think I got that right. We have a lot to go through today. I have been going through all the notes or the updates for the past month and a half. There's a lot. I don't think I got everything. I want to thank Shards for doing the weekly thing where he posts all the stuff. I don't know if that's public, but it's awesome. It's so great. So if you know, you know, and if you don't, I wish you had it. Before we get started, I did want to apologize that I've got a bit of a cough and a bit of a nose, like allergy thing. Springtime's in session here in Seattle, so just kind of throwing me off. My water's all depleted already, so I might have to fill it up at some point. Whew, there is a lot. Hey, Nick, great to have you. This is the guy, guys. I wanted to say brought to you by Nick, but then it would sound like an ad. But Nick requested that we do this office hours, and I said, that's a great idea. Let's do it. So thank you, Nick, for asking. In the Discord, Vidyuu Discord link is in the description if you'd like to join us there. I answer questions all the time. I wasn't planning to do an office hours while I was back in town. That's such a weird thing to say. I feel like my parents almost for a minute. They do a lot of snowbirding and a lot of traveling. But we were going on 2 different trips. One we did already, which was with my parents, and now we're going on another trip in a couple weeks with my wife's parents. And so, anyway, we're not home for a long period of time, but this is exciting. So excited to do this with you guys. Let me check off what we've talked about. So there's a lot of new features. I'd like to try and show as many in this video as I can. Shards is helpful. Yes, he is. Great Storm, great to have you. Thanks for joining. I'm just going to read this off as quickly as I can, and then I'm going to show as many of these things as possible. Now, the live chat is open. I am writing down your questions as you ask them here. I've got a few already. It's Medina was asking about a visits leaderboard. We did get this solved. If it's something you're interested in, we might come back to it. Is like a TypeScript asset we could potentially share. It is kind of included in that one 17-hour video I made. It's in that script pack as well. There's a visit counting thing, I think something like that. It's a day tracker. It's similar. So anyway, we can look at that. We got, let's see, anything else in here? Avatar scaling, I think, is something we talked about doing a month ago. So that's another option. I'm going to just put question marks next to these to note that those are things that we're going to question. And then in terms of new features, they've added a lot. Avatar scale, 3D model generator, skybox generator, coloring mesh from the editor, asset thumbnail generation, renaming from inside of world, that must be a bug. AI scripts work. I have to add caution when we get to that. You can upload audio, sky domes, and text from the editor now. And from the web editor, you now have the ability to upload textures and sound, which is very exciting, especially for those who don't have access to a Windows computer. There's a bunch of new TypeScript features, like the setting of the far clipping plane, which is your render distance, basically. And you can also force cross-screen to look at a position, and there's a bunch of other small changes. So we're going to take a look at as many of these as we can. Welcome, Jeff. Great to have you. Texture generation is broken. Oh, I guess we're going to take a look. Let's go jump right in Horizon. I've already opened it up. I did have to do the thing I mentioned in one of my last recordings, which was I had to uninstall it because it wasn't updating. And then I had to shut down my computer, wait a minute, reboot, reinstall Horizon, and that did get it to update. It's a pain, but it's the only way I've found to get it to update when your MetaQuest link, and you can check it by hitting details, and that's how I figured out I made it to the right version, and that I was on the wrong version. So, all right. But I think that's a pretty common bug. I definitely have seen a lot of people getting stuck. So now, in the creation home, we're going to go ahead and create a new world, which you're going to note is one of the things we talked about. And I'm not sure we're calling this a new feature, but it doesn't ask you what you want to name your world. It doesn't ask you if there's a template you want to use. It just creates an empty world. So that's fun. We really do need the naming. I feel like this is just like an accidental mistake when they were updating the UI, and they haven't fixed it. They added this button up here to rename it. So it's like they're aware of it. I don't know if they're going to fix it because of this. Sometimes when Meta has a patch, they're like, a patch is good enough. So I hope they get around to fixing it. I don't know that they will. So this world is another office hours. We'll just go ahead and type office hours. And today is 25-04-27. Very good. And save. Okay. So we've got our world name. We've talked about that being a bug. I also like calling out Meta's bugs in these live streams because sometimes their developers will watch this and then fix them. And to anyone who's done that, thank you, Meta. Appreciate you guys. It's really great when the bugs get fixed. We really appreciate it. Okay, so here we can already see the Gen AI is front and center. I normally would have to open this, but they really want you to see it. They really want you using Gen AI. I'm not as enthralled with generative AI as as everyone else is, which is for better or worse. But so like I don't want this open when I come in, but I understand there's a lot of people using it. The first thing I would love to try is generating a 3D model because I've never done that. That sounds so exciting. But let's start with a skybox because we should put a sky around our world. A thunderstorm with rain clouds, a sky filled with stars, and a giant planet. A massive golden desert landscape before us. These are some nice options. A vast ocean with a blue sky and big puffy clouds on the horizon. I think we can't copy these, can we? If I click on it, oh, it just does it. Okay. I was thinking maybe it would copy it into the text here so that I could then edit it and make it custom, but no. All right, vast ocean with blue sky and big puffy clouds on the horizon. I like this one because it creates this far off distance and then there's no there's less perspective shifting as you're walking around. Although now that I think about it, this skybox should be a proper skybox, so that's exciting. I see a lot of questions or comments coming in. Let's go ahead and read it out. It's super grayed out. Oh, interesting. I guess we'll look at that in a second, Jeff. Barry says, thanks for everything you did for me. You're very welcome, Barry. Great to have you. In custom UI, I know you can render the bindable value as text, but what if I want to do a condition rendered based on the binding value? We'll come back to that in a minute, Nick. I'll write it down. Say Nick has questions about bindings. Okay. Steve says, I'm so happy to be able to import sounds. I know, how exciting, I love it. All right, there it is. Let's go save to asset library. There's also a new feature to mention, which is that the asset library automatically generates a picture now. And so you can see some of the ones that we uploaded a while back have pictures, which is, well, actually we made that picture. Like, how do I show these? Is that gonna work? Yeah, so like this one, there's no way, I didn't upload a picture for that. That generated a picture, that's kind of cool. All right, and there is our blue sky. I'm gonna go ahead and skinny that back into so we can see everything. There we go. And now that we got that, I guess we'll just pull it out and presumably that's going to link up. I was expecting a picture to generate. Ooh, that is not perfect. I mean, not perfect at all, but okay, we'll go with it. Okay, if I go to preview mode, does it look better? No, it's so bad. I was expecting that to look a lot better, especially since it was one of their prompts. Okay. This just, for me, reaffirms my own personal feelings on AI not being great. But we'll give it one more shot. Let's see, is there any options we can do, like lowering it in the, so it's not default wipes, one reflection. Okay, I don't see any good settings in here for us to use. So let's do one more. We'll do a custom one. We're gonna call this Meta Horizon. Oh, I got that's so funny. That is so funny. Oh, Meta Horizon, a VR social app that enables creators to build amazing virtual worlds right out of fantasy and sci-fi novels, fun, playful cityscape. I'm trying to describe the one, you guys know the one I'm talking about. When you're loading in and you see it. I'm like, I didn't describe it with a lot of detail of color. I just wanted to give it kind of an idea that's in that general theme. We'll see where it takes it. All right, so while that's generating, I'm gonna read through some more of these. Nick says, IE in React is true. Okay, we'll come back to that. I think these is just more details that we can come back to. How can I get if player is pressing X or Y? The only events I see to hook into are on button. We'll look into that as well. So Nick also wants to know about button presses. Okay. And let's see. Next we've got Jeff asking, check to see if there's a black outline on the bottom of the skybox. Okay, let's do that. Scrolling down. It's not too bad. Oh, you're right. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? I hope you're not intending for people to look down in your world. Let's see, can I get back up? Back up? Oh, there we are. We're way up. Is this going to generate? It says it's generating. I feel like I should have copied the text. Oh, there's a copy button. Copy to clipboard. Sweet. Because that is still going. All right. Good point, Jeff. Appreciate that. I can post the pictures on Discord. Yeah, we got to see it. I hope you guys were able to see that. It was definitely very fine, but it was there. Dino says, how would I make a script for a world that restarts every 10 minutes? Good question, Dino. Restart world every 10 minutes. All right. So this is not bad. Let's go ahead and add that to the asset library. Save to asset library. I think I'm going to give this other one a thumbs down since that's a thing we can do. Looks like I can't interact. Oh, there it goes. I can't interact when it's in that really brief pause. We're going to go give you a thumbs down. I'm sorry, bud. Too complicated, not accurate, not complete, irrelevant, other, harmful. Why isn't there like bad generation? Too slow, harmful, or offensive, too complicated, not accurate, not complete, other. That sucks to have to use other. But it really wasn't straight. Like, there should be an option for not straight, not centered. So, is what it is. All right, now this one has loaded in, so we're going to delete this one. Delete, and we're going to pull out our new one. And this one should be pretty cool. Play. Woohoo! Whoa! Now that's kind of crazy. Wow, that is kind of crazy. That's crazy good. I'm gonna give that crazy good. This is very fun. I could use that. There's definitely something about that that's usable. Maybe that a thumbs up. Definitely feels straight. Very nice. I guess we should check the bottom box. I assume it's there. Yeah, it's totally there. And it's basically just a reflection on the bottom side because, like, what else are you going to do? And I guess what you could do with this is make, like, a water reflection plane. If you've seen some of Rex's worlds where he's got water, Rexrod, he'll basically do that. And then he'll have a glass plane, and then it looks like a glassy reflection. It's pretty cool. Okay, nice. So that is one of our Gen AIs we've gotten to talk about. Nick says, can I spawn specific primitives with spawn asset, or for each primitive type would I need to create an asset? This is a quick answer. The answer is you would need to create an asset. You technically can go into your build, at least you used to be able to, and use these as asset reference by dragging them to the properties panel. Don't do that. They literally just deleted all the old ones and made a bunch of brand new ones. So I would definitely recommend creating your own assets so that way you don't have to worry about like meta being in charge. And like one day there was a point where they actually redid the assets completely and changed their scale. So just make your own assets. It's definitely the way to go. Jeff says, for restarts, everything can have a reset script that listens for reset viruses. That's an option too, yes. Steve G says, can you mix code blocks and TypeScript? Yes, you definitely can mix the two. I would definitely start with really small, simple scripts like the one we're going to be demonstrating today and bringing those in, just getting your toes dipped in. In fact, one of the things I wanted to talk about today was, I thought I wrote it down, yeah, code block utility scripts, scripts made in TypeScript to make code blocks have more features. So we should come back to that topic as well. Okay, so let's keep going through some of these. What we're doing, if you've just joined us, great to have you. Let me face cam you for a second. Hello! If you just joined us, welcome in. The madness, great to have you, is we're going through all the new features, and there's been a lot of them. And so we're just quickly racing through all the new features as quickly as we can, and then we're going to jump into your guys' questions. But feel free to keep your questions coming. I'm writing them down. We've got a lot to go through today, so I'm excited to be here for roughly 2 to 2.5 hours. So love it, very excited. And without further ado, jumping right back in. So I'm going to go through some really simple ones. Like I mentioned earlier in the notes that there is a new button on the website. So horizon.meta.com, you can go to the creator/assets page here, and then import now has options for texture and sound. So if you don't have the desktop editor, you can now upload these here as well, which is so fantastic because I know a lot of people who don't have Windows computers and are Mac users like myself. I had to buy this computer just for Horizon. Not ideal, so just keep, every time you hear talk to Meta, make sure to tell them you want Mac support if you're a Mac user like me. But yeah, so that's the import button. Very nice. Super glad we have that. And if you didn't know already, just for those not yet in the know, if you go to this page and you've created a world, we just created this one. Remember, we named it Office Hours, so I'm refreshing. It should appear. If you need to edit the scripts, you can do that from the web editor by clicking on the scripts button here. And that's going to give you access to all the scripts in the world. So you can write TypeScript or copy paste TypeScript in, even if you don't have the desktop editor. And then we also have insights here, which is pretty cool. Definitely recommend checking this out for any worlds you have rolling. Okay, but that's all we're going to talk about on the web. So I'm going to mark that off as done as well. And inside of VR, we mentioned a few of these, right? So here you can see you can now upload audio. You can upload SkyDome. So presumably there might be a way to download this, or maybe there's a SkyDome that you can upload, which is nice. We can also now upload audio. So I think those are the two, just audio and SkyDomes. Yeah. Oh, and text. They added text. You could always upload text from the website, but you weren't able to upload it from in VR, or excuse me, inside the desktop editor. Now we can. Super awesome to have that here. So awesome. Okay, marking that off the to-do list. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. We talked about the TypeScript features. I don't think we're going to do anything in TypeScript. So the new TypeScript features were setting far clip plane, which is basically your render distance, forcing cross screens to look at a position, and other small changes. We're just not going to try and build those. It just takes too much time. I did want to try to demo a couple more of these AI tools. And we'll start with generating a 3D model. And I'm going to just go, I like this. This is my favorite feature. This is why I'm so excited about it, is that you can choose the number of vertices. So less than 1,000 would be my recommendation for everyone. Like when I go to look for models online, I'm always looking for less than 1,000, less than 2,000. When you're building a game, you don't want your world to have more than about 200,000 to 400,000 vertices. And so having these small is really important. So we're going to go ahead and go small. Obviously, there are instances where a medium is probably okay. I don't know if there's ever an instance where a large is okay in Horizon, which is, probably a bad idea. I guess maybe, just maybe if you're building an entire house, but I wouldn't really recommend using it. Like, let's give it a go. Like, just, why not? Full house. Modern, sleek, studio, apartment. Like this is probably the only case to use model size. And we're just interior. We're not going to generate the outside, just the interior. Generate. If this looks good, I would be shocked. And the reason, I don't know how long this is going to take. We'll give you something to look at. I've seen a few of these, like while I was on vacation, I was working, but while I was gone, I was watching these. Everybody was generating 3D models, and what I saw was that anything organic looked great. Anything non-organic, meant to be like clean-cut lines, it just really struggled with. So I'm expecting this to fail pretty bad because it's an interior of a sleek modern house. It's like everything it fails at. Whereas if you ask it to generate a cave, that probably will look amazing. So we'll do both and see how they look. I'm just going to quickly look at the chat. We've got quite a few messages have come in, and let's see. What is the name of the app? Welcome in for the name of the app. This is the Horizon desktop editor. It's from Horizon Worlds on VR. You also have that on your phone now. We use the MetaQuest link to download the app, and then you can get it via Meta Horizon Desktop or Editor Early Access is the app name. So you can install that. It's open to everyone, although some of the AI tools are only available in the US, Canada, and the UK right now, I believe are the three. They say they're expanding it, so we don't know when that's going to expand, but it should be soon. Linux support, nice, yes. More support, I totally agree. All right, so we've got it. Oh my gosh, and it gave us, wow, way more, wow. Okay, color me impressed. Flex tie some egg rolls. What? Confirm the shapes you'd like to see textured. Yeah, texture this model, go for it. So then it has to go and do, oh, was I supposed to click? Oh, I can do one at a time. Okay. I'm like, what is it doing? Okay, so this one, texture this model. I don't know. I'm learning. So we do want to texture that. We definitely want to texture that. I don't know if we want to texture that. Definitely want to texture this. My leg's starting to fall asleep. I can feel it. And texture this. All right, so there it goes. So that's interesting. Generate a textured model for a modern sleek apartment. So it even creates the prompt for it. So interesting. And there's no button to save these yet, so I guess we're still in the like processing stage of this. How interesting. I still think it's going to be rough, but oh man, what are we thinking here? Are there multiple models? This doesn't look like the same scene. Oh, I guess there's different rooms. There's multiple rooms. I asked for a studio. It doesn't know what a studio is. I'm just kidding, but that's interesting. So here it is. I am interested to see what this is going to look like when we pull it out. It's definitely better than I expected, but not perfect. There is a way to export these from the menu here. You can go to export geometry. And so I imagine a lot of creators who know how to use Blender might use this as a starting point and then take it into Blender to polish it. I'm about to sneeze, I'm so sorry. Oh, maybe it's gone. No? Maybe it's gone. Okay, we're good. So anyway, it's almost done. Ooh. A sneeze that doesn't sneeze is very uncomfortable. All right, let's keep going through these question marks. What is the text import option? Great question. So you can import text files, which are basically just going to be like a JSON object. So you can put technically anything in there, but TypeScript supports JSON objects. So if you build a text JSON object, you can then undo it. You can bring it into TypeScript really easy. If it's regular text, you're going to have to parse it yourself as a giant string. No fun. Don't recommend it. I've done it in the past. Not my favorite. So that's what a text object is. It's just an item you can engage with TypeScript. Dino Inc. says, why is my visits leaderboard not the same number as my stats for the cookies mod tool stats, even though it's connected to the same persistent variable? That's weird. I imagine the leaderboard is just not working properly. I feel like I've heard some people talking about leaderboards not working correctly. Leaderboards also display numbers differently. So if you get to a high enough value, then that becomes a problem. So it could be that. All right. So here's our model. Go ahead and click Save Model. And let's see what it looks like. So far, I'm not seeing any color in this. I'm not really sure what we're looking at. Oh, I have to save each model. Oh, that's so interesting. I'm not sure at all what we're looking at. Are these 4 separate models? Are they one coherent? Maybe it's 4 separate models, so we get to like compare. Okay, let's go ahead and close the Gen AI tab to give us more view here. And let's pull out Modern Sleek Apartment, this one. Okay, pull it out. All right, and we're going to go ahead and preview from here. That is one of my favorite things, whenever a model is not the size you expect it to be. Let's go scale that to 555. That should be closer to accurate. All right, click preview from here. Nice. Okay. And this is where you start to see exactly what I meant when I said it really, really fails on anything that is like supposed to be straight. In fact, I think the 3D model looks straighter than the actual texture. I think the texture is actually ruining this 3D model. That's crazy. So you might be able to download the texture and like edit it in Photoshop or something to make this look better. Yeah, this is interesting. So curious. Okay, so that's one of them. We'll drag that around a little bit. Next up. So we did that one. We'll do this one next. The 5X seemed to work pretty well. I think we're going to do 4X this time. 4, 4, 4. Okay. Right-click preview. And looking at it, this one definitely, I feel like you can see it, but I'm not sure. Maybe that's just the texture. It could just be really bad texture, but no, right there on that corner of the table, you can see it turns into this kind of pointed edge, which makes it look more like an organic wood table, but like you're probably not looking for that when you're looking for a sleek modern apartment. And there's no color in here, which is also bizarre. We got like a little bit there. This is pretty bad. Like texture wise, I think the texture is really hurting this model. A much better texture could have saved the day. Okay, we got 2 more to look at. This one here is up next. And then we'll do cave next, which I think is going to look great. So here we go. Right click, preview. Yeah, this texture generator is really bad. Yeah, I mean, the 3D model generator isn't perfect, but the texture is not doing it any favors. So, I mean, this is early days though, which is basically what I'm about to say next about the scripting tool. When the scripting tool came out, it was completely unusable. This is interesting. Still, I'd say the same thing about it as I said for everything else. And so if we go to AI for just a second, and we go to generate a script, and we ask it for something really simple, something that it used to fail at when I first tried it, which is create a script that teleports players when they enter a trigger, and generate. And so in the past it wasn't able to do this correctly. It like literally hallucinated so much stuff, but I've seen other people getting stuff to work. So let's take a look. And then I'm supposed to use a bunch of caution. Create new script. Let's read it first. Import entity, fair. It has 2 import lines, total mistake, actually crazy. And then component, class trigger extends component, type of teleport trigger, spawn point, prop types, entity, okay. Start code block events, connect code block events for horizon events on player enter trigger. This dot teleport player, so it's going to call the teleport player. Then teleport player says player is a player. Spawn point equals this prop spawn point. It's using exclamation points, which you're not really supposed to do. It does that twice. Yikes. And then it says spawn point dot teleport player, which I don't think is it teleport player? It might be dot teleport, so this might be a misspelling. Let's just trust it. Add new script. Oh, okay. Wasn't expecting it to do that. And don't save that, whatever that is. Teleport trigger. There's nothing here. What's going on? It's just opened this, but it's not done anything. Scripts. Here it is. 3 dots. Open an external editor. Do I have to copy paste it in? I literally have to copy paste it in. Is that what's going on? I don't know what this scripts file is. Don't save. Control save whatever this is, and then let's go actually get the file. Okay, so we have to hit copy. Bizarre behaviors here. I don't know if these are bugs or what. Doesn't know what Horizon Core is because it didn't open the script correctly, did it? Weird. Scripts, 3 dots, open an external editor. Okay. This one opened correctly. No, yeah, this one opened correctly. I'm not sure what it's... No, what's going on here? Open folder. It's not opening the files correctly. I don't know what to tell you. Scripts folder, select folder. There's nothing in here. Save. Yes, I trust the authors. Okay, we're finally getting somewhere. Yeah, and this is why I don't recommend using it, because it's already making lots of mistakes and we haven't even got to the script. This should have worked a lot differently. Like a lot differently. Let's leave and come back, because since that's kind of like a Horizon thing you have to do sometimes, we'll just leave and come back. So we'll give that a shot. Man, I really came in here to say one nice thing about the script generation tool, and I think I'm going to have nothing nice to say. I see a lot of messages coming in. I'm sorry I haven't had a chance to read them. Now I have a quick pause. I see it says it saves a temp file. Just go to your structure file. Sure. Ah, I've heard about that new bug. Yeah, we had that happen in the other recording too. 3 dots, open an external editor. So what this should do is it should open with all, there it is. Okay, that opened correctly this time. And then you want to hit allow. So don't, for whatever you do not hit that plus button to add the script. I don't know what it's doing. It's not doing it right. Instead, just copy the code. You'll have to go up here, scripts, and click plus to create a new script, name it, and then go back into VS Code. That's going to be the thing that works. So 3 dots, open external editor. Okay, so we got this script. It's technically working. Like, this is not right. This is ugly, if you ask me. This is very ugly code. This is not something I would consider safe to write like this. Anyway, is teleport players actually an option? It's not just teleport? Okay, it really is teleport player. Cool. Well, good. So now that that's done, let's go ahead and try it out. We're going to go and put a trigger in this room, build, gizmo, trigger, put it on the table, and then we're going to attach the script to the trigger. There we go. Okay, so far we're doing good. It doesn't have any bugs in the code, which is better than last time. Build, gizmos, spawn point, and let's drag that spawn point up. And now we've got our spawn point, and then we did have another spawn point in the world, so let's go ahead and delete that one. Boom. I don't know why we'd have 2. This is spawn start. Maybe Control Z. We'll bring it back. We'll have 1 for world start. So this is the world spawn, and then this other one will be the bedroom spawn. Naming is important, as you're about to see in a second, because when we go to the trigger, we can then select the spawn point from this drop down, and we can either search for it, or in this case, since there's so few, I'll just hit bedroom spawn. And now that that's working, I'll hit world simulation on, hit play, and then we'll run over to the bedroom with the table, not this one, the other one. Here it is, and teleport. Yay, it works, nice. Okay, from one table to the next. Okay, so it's functional. That's 2 cents. Now comes all my loads of caution. Number 1, I don't recommend using it. We basked it for the most basic thing. Also noting that prompting is very important. So knowing the names of things, like that it's a trigger gizmo, that you need a spawn point, you want to teleport. Important to know all those words. Let's fix this, and hopefully that'll start to explain why I don't think this is the best. I personally don't prefer HZ dots, so I would delete this line. You can also do the reverse of this, but we're going to delete HZ dots, which then we have to go through and do that, and that, and that, and that, and that. There's a lot of them. And then once you've deleted all the HZ dots, you can backspace, press T, and click enter. So when you're normally typing this, you would be typing enter all along the way, which is what imports these. And then those get added to your import line up here. Looks like we didn't even need entity. Entity was never actually used, so we can just delete that. So the one line it had was completely not needed. Code block events needs to also be imported. Player will also need to be imported. And then spawn point gizmo will also need to be imported. Okay, there we go. So now that part is set up. Then the next thing that I would do differently is these exclamation points basically stop the code in place. You can instead use a question mark, and the question mark just says, okay, if it's not real, if it's not a thing, then just keep going. Or excuse me, if it is a thing, keep going. If it's not a thing, don't. And then I also would just put this as one line. There's no reason to break that into 2 lines. So you just do like that. So spawn, and you don't need to say spawn point. You can then just do this dot props dot spawn point as spawn point gizmo dot teleport player. Teleport player is nice, but personally, I would like to mirror this on player enter trigger. So I'd say player enter trigger player, and then instead of having this line of code here, I'd put it on the same line so it takes up less space, and then just call player enter trigger, and then pass in parentheses player, and then I like semicolons, so I'll add a semicolon there. And looks good. So this is basically the same script. I find it's a lot easier to read. Does the same thing. It's a lot cleaner. I don't know. This is how I would have written it. And once you've made this, you can copy paste it to all your worlds. So we can hit play and just prove that that's still working. World simulation on. Right click preview from here, and then jump on the table. Boom, still works. So there you go. So just, you know, if you're going to use, I gotta say this with like some heart. If you're going to use the script generator, use it for simple things. And then I want you to also recognize that if you don't know how to type, you don't know how to use TypeScript to fix those type of mistakes, some of these scripts aren't going to work. And I would really appreciate it if you don't come to me asking me to fix them. I'm actually going to say right here, I'm going to refuse. I'm going to refuse to fix AI generated scripts because that's not fun. Like, I'm not a prompt. That's not my job, right? Like, I'm out here to help people who are learning, and if you're using AI scripting, you're probably not learning because it's teaching you wrong if you're using it. If you want to learn some scripts, I've got lots of tutorials, and we got a Discord where you can ask for help. And I would appreciate if you did that instead of asking me to fix AI generated scripts. They're getting better, but they are not to the point where somebody with no scripting experience can use it. And that's my 2 cents. So AI scripts with caution. It's a thing. Now we got a few more things to go through before I can get to your questions on the new updates. We're almost there. There are some really exciting new features. So let's go into Horizon again. One of my favorite new ones is if we click on this 3D model, there's an option here to change the tint color. So let's set it to be purple. We can then, once we've set the color, we can then change the tint strength to like 0.5. So it's 50% or 0.6. You know, it's got this kind of like, ooh, that's kind of moody. I kind of like that. You could imagine tinting all of your world to have this like almost mood lighting. It's very nice. It's very nice. We go 100% is probably too much. Yeah, 100%, a little too much. 0.8, 0.9, very nice. Just very soft lighting almost. Almost makes this scene look better. It improves the texture so much. So yeah, that's one of my favorite new features, this ability to change the color. Previously, I had created scripts that allowed you to do this via script, so it's nice that you don't have to do that anymore. Okay, so that one is taken care of. Next up, asset thumbnail generation. Let's create an asset out of this. Right click, create asset. We're gonna call this purple room, and then put that in my assets and press create. So I'm expecting that this is going to create a thumbnail. I don't know how this feature works. I just know it exists. So learning together. Okay, purple room is there. And I don't see a picture. Right click. Nope, there's no way to create a picture from here. Huh. I assumed it was going to automatically create a thumbnail. Maybe thumbnails are just for these images? I'm not sure. If we double click on it, let's see if there's anything we can do from inside the asset. So you can edit the asset, right click and then edit. I don't see anything in here either. Right click. Nope. Okay, discard. No idea. Very curious, very curious. Okay, so as far as the automatic thumbnail generator, no idea how that works. If you know, feel free to drop it in the comments and I'll read it in just a minute. Okay, so next up, we talked about the skybox generator. We talked about the 3D model generator. The last feature is the avatar scale. I'm going to make this its own topic that we're going to get to because I think that'll be a fun one. Avatar scale. Okay, cool. Whew, we dived through a lot there. And now I'm going to read your guys' messages, and we're going to create a brand new sheet with like more. This one's getting all kind of gross, so we're going to use a brand new piece of paper to really describe the next things we're going to be covering. And let me see how far I need to scroll up. I see a lot of people have joined us. Thank you guys. So great to have you. let's see. I want to figure out where I left off. Why is my visits leaderboard? We talked about Dino's visit leaderboard just a second ago, and the difference between cookies mod tools. So to very clarify this a little bit, the player persistent variable. I don't actually know. I don't want to misspeak here, so I'm trying to think. The leaderboards have a maximum number. I've seen people in one of my worlds get to that number. So I imagine if somebody hits that max number, then the mod tool is going to show the correct number, but the thing is wrong. That's my guess. There might be other bits to it too. Next up, Buho says, I generated land masses with that example, or with example island. Interesting. I forgot, we were going to try generating a cave. Let's get that generating in the background, because I'm pretty sure organics are going to look really good compared to this. So let's go Gen AI, go to 3D models. We're going to generate a, let's go with medium, and then, because I want to ask it for cave, large, long, winding path, lots of paths and dead ends. And we'll say cave with long winding paths, with long winding paths and dead ends, and lots of dead ends, lots of dead ends, cave with long winding paths and lots of dead ends, a couple large open rooms. Okay, generate. We'll see how it goes. And back over here on the camera. So, let's keep going. We were talking about island masses. How do you add background? Oh, Louis, if you're referring to that background we created, it was with the AI generation tool. There's an option under Gen AI for skyboxes, and that's how we did that. Pretty cool. Definitely, you can rewind in the video to see a little bit of that. So just rewind a little bit or come back. Oh, what did I do? Oh, or come back later. After this live stream, you can go back to that part in the beginning where we generated 2. Okay. So let's keep going. Multiple models. If you had a different question, Louis, about background, definitely add some more context for what you mean. Oh, you said like the building, so yeah, we covered that then. Georgie says, hi, thank you for all your tutorials. You're welcome. Great to have you. I'm trying to export geometry from one world to another, but textures do not carry over. What would be the easiest way to generate textures from old world? That's so strange. I had no idea. Have you tried importing the world? I would ask this question in the Vidyuu Discord, link in the description. If you have access to the partner Discord, or you can also use the public forums. I don't know if the public forums are as active. They might be. But I'm in the Discord. I don't really touch the forums. It's another login that I just don't have time for. But on the Discord, link in the description, we have a creator support channel. Feel free to ask that question there. Maybe somebody else has some more information. My guess would be importing into world. So like if you do the world that has the models in it and then import that into your world, that tends to work better. So we have, yeah, give that a shot. And if somebody else knows, feel free to leave that in the comments here as well. Add light for better color. Ah, what? Wait, really? Really, Booho? It's that simple? No way. I don't believe you. I will be so shocked. Oh, these are awful caves, aren't they? We're going to look at those in a second. If this is as simple as adding a light, I will be so shocked. We're going to gizmos. We got the static light gizmo. And let's pull this up. And then let's make it strong. Intensity 25. Change it to be a ellipsoid. Nice. Okay, that actually does improve the color. It's still awful. 200. But that's a lot better than it was. There's definitely pops of green in here that we couldn't see before. How interesting. Thanks for that tip, Uho. Great suggestion. Really, really great suggestion. Kind of curious what that does to our purple one over there. Bring that in. And then let's turn off the, we can turn the strength to 0. Nah, that ain't it. Purple is the way to go. 0.8. Boom. So happy with that. Okay, cool. This looks awful. I asked for caves. These do not look like caves at all. This looks like water. I don't even want to play with those. We're gonna just close this and reopen it. Gen AI. So here's where the generate a sky is. So that question you had there. We're gonna go to 3D model again, and we're gonna try one more. Large cave. Let's just ask it for a large cave. I'm not gonna do any special prompting. Just large cave. Let's see what it does. Okay, back to the chat. We're going to keep rolling through these. There's a lot of them. So thank you guys for asking questions. It's so great to have you guys so engaged today. I really love it. How do you recommend to reference entities or objects from other entities using props, get entities, or some other method? Good question. There's 2 methods that I recommend, Nick. Okay, method 1 is properties. If you've just got one item, absolutely use the properties. If you have more than one and could have more than like a bunch of them, and we're talking about the same thing, right? Okay, so imagine, for instance, you have a visual effect that gets teleported to a player when they die. And this is a pretty common thing, right? So you teleport the visual effect, you play it. But if 2 people die at the same time, that visual effect glitches between the 2 and only one person gets the effect. So instead, you create a pool of these visual effects. In that case, you're going to need at least 2, right? And to be really good, like we had a pool one day, and that pool wanted everybody to jump in at the same time. So we made sure there was special effects for every single player. So that was like 16 visual effects. And the best part about it is you can just duplicate it. So if you start with 4, and then later you're like, let's double it to 8, you can do that by having a script running on that one visual effects that adds itself to the pool. And I will quickly show you that right now. We're just going to run through as many of these as we can, because this one's super simple. Nick pool. We'll call this the sound effects pool. Okay. And I'm going to do really high level covering of this topic. So if you have if you have a deeper question, I just feel like it can't do caves. This is like the cave floor or a cave ceiling. This is not a cave. So I'm giving up on this 3D model generator, although I do believe it can do organics better. I guess I want a cave, so I'm just keep trying. What's another thing that's organic? Let's try, tree is a bad idea because there's too much detail. Grass would be kind of cool. Maybe like a log, dead log. Let's do a tree stump. That's better. Tree stump. There's no way it fails at tree stump, okay? I sure hope not. And in the meantime, we're going to go quickly build that script I was mentioning. So what I'd recommend doing there, Nick, is you'd create a new script, and this is going to be where you're going to store the data. So we're going to call this pool_data. And then we're going to create a new, we'll call this the pool sound effects, which is an entity. And then the pool data we're going to open first. And this is going to store the information for the pool. Command A, backspace. And then I like to do it this way, where I create a JSON object to store everything in. So I'll say export constant, and we'll call this pool_data. I like to mirror the name of the file, and then say equals curly braces. And then above this, I can define a pool. And so we're going to say constant sound effects pool equals, and then we'll say audio gizmo array, which then equals an array. Sorry, I mistyped that a little bit. We need to change this from an, oops, where'd I go? Come on back. We need to change this from an equals sign to a colon. My bad. Okay, so we're saying sound effects pool of type audio gizmo array equals empty array. And then right here we can export it by saying sound effects pool and then comma, and then you can do that for as many as you want. So we could go Control C, Control V, Control C, Control C, Control V, and then we could change this to VFX pool, and then change this to particle gizmo, and then this one would be VFX pool, and then I must have pasted this in the wrong spot. There we go. And there we go. Sorry, a couple quick typos. So you can do this for as many different pools as you need, and Control Save. And then we'll go ahead and open up the pool sound effects entity. And then over here, I don't like HT dots as we've already established, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly delete those. And then inside of here, we can add ourselves to the pool. And so I'm going to add a property to show you how much you can actually really extend this. So we can say this is a pool FX, and then we're going to need to rename this. So I just double click Control-C, Control-V, Control-V. There's another way to do it. It's even faster, but that's okay. And then under the properties, we can say is VFX, and then that will be curly braces type colon prop types dot boolean, and then comma default colon false, and then comma Control-C, Control-V, and then is sound effects. There we go. And then in start, and I'd recommend actually putting this in pre-start. So we'll go pre-start. And then inside of pre-start is where we're going to register this to the pool. And so we'll say pool data dot sound effects pool. And then we'll actually need to do if parentheses props dot is sound effects curly braces alt arrow up. And then pool data dot sound effects pool dot push parentheses this dot entity dot as parentheses audio gizmo. There we go. All right, so that's how we would add it to the sound effects pool. Pretty straightforward. If you know TypeScript, this shouldn't feel scary. If you don't know TypeScript, I'm sorry. This one wasn't for you, but we have a lot more to go through, so stay tuned. We'll have some easier stuff in a minute. So there's the VFX pool, and then as a particle gizmo. And so now we've got if it's a VFX. And so you can have this one script for both your sound effects and your visual effects, which means I want to rename this. Rename this. And you could even use this for other things. Like this could just be the pool entity script, right? And then I'll show you that other trick I was mentioning. Right click, rename symbol, and change that to pool underscore entity. There we go. And that's going to update the other two. And Control save. All right, so we got this cool pool script, and then we can have as many of these is sound effects, and that's going to add it to the pool data. And then you can have a third script like your pool trigger over here. And then pool trigger is going to say when player enters trigger, and we're going to use pool data dot sound effects pool, and then we're going to grab item 0 for now, and then dot play. There we go. And then Control-C, Control-V, and we need to do this to the VFX pool as well. And we also need to move it to the correct position, so Control-C, Control-V, Control-C, Control-V, oops, Control-C, Control-C, Control-V. And then we'd want to do position.set, position.set. This is not optimized in the slightest. Player.position.get. Just really quickly throwing that together. And then Control-C and Control-V, Alt arrow up to move that up a line, Control-save. Okay, so that's going to play kind of a death effect right at their position. And it's just using item 0. You'd want to have an iterator somewhere where you could like cycle through the whole list. We're not doing that today. We're going to assume that you already know that. And if you want to know more, we've got some more tutorials on it. That looks more like a cave. Wait, when did these generate? Oh, I asked for a stump. Wait a second. Wait a second. That's not a stump. Maybe, I guess, a little bit. That could be a stump. That's a stump. That's a stump. Okay, we got 2 good stumps. Let's texture this model and texture this model. Okay. So now that we've got our script together, we can now go build we can pull out a gizmo. We need the visual effects gizmo. We're just going to use particle effects for now. There are other ones that you can use. Pull that out. And now we're going to attach the pool script. Go ahead and grab the pool entity script. And then this is a visual effect that we're going to set from default to smoke poof. We're going to play that on start is off. And now we need a sound effect to go with that. So we'll go to sounds. And speaking of sounds, just to, yeah, I guess we could have used Gen AI to generate a custom sound, but that's okay. And then we're going to grab a chime. There we go. That might not be the right chime. There's no way to play that until we pull it out. Let's get sparkle. There it is. That hopefully is the one I'm looking for. Okay, hit play. Nice. That's a great death effect. It'll be even better if we lower the pitch. -5, play. Nice. All right, and then we'll go ahead and set that up as a pool entity with the check for sound effects. And then you can duplicate that as many times as you want. So you just Control D and that's going to add it to the pool. We'll go ahead and hit play. Going to run over to the table. Oh, I forgot to start the world. Starting the world, and you can see I got teleported and the sound effect and everything played. We'll do that one more time for proof. Here we go. Nice. Very cool. So that is a really simple pool script. I will make all these scripts available at the end of the class, so you'll be able to download these if you want to take them apart later and learn more about them. Okay, so sound effects pool done. Let's keep looking through you guys' questions coming in. Thanks for asking, everyone. Just rolling through them one at a time. I guess we can look at those stumps. It looks like... No, they're not done yet. Are they done? They're not done yet. Okay. Georgie says, I really like painting things myself, but now it doesn't allow me to paint tri-mesh. Not big expert in Blender. Boy, do I feel that. Okay. So I've got you guys over here on my laptop, which I just lost the power cable to. Worst demo of all time. I'm working on my app. It's stored in this folder. And let's see. Latest version. Okay. So, Horizon is not the place for this anymore. So I'm working on an app that hopefully will be the place for this. So I want you to hit the start button here in the top right. Starts the world up. And I've written this script that just generates cubes everywhere. This is a very, very early introduction. I have saved this script so I don't feel bad hitting reset. We go ahead and stop the world, hit reset, and then hit start. This is the default script. So there's a lot of things I'm trying to do with this, but the first thing I want to do is make it modder friendly. And so as somebody who writes a lot of code, the ability to modify the app to do whatever I want, like generating a bunch of cubes specifically, which is just a demo. Oh, I need to put this up so I can actually see what you guys are saying. Is really important. And I know it won't make it into the original, like the first release. I mean, it would be maybe I can, but I don't think so. But what I'd like it to do eventually is allow you to paint the model, like literally, go in and paint it. And so a year or two ago, I was working in Unity on some like basic tools that were built for like the desk, like computer web, your actual computer. And so now I'm bringing them into like a VR app. So I'm working on making it a VR app. And a couple of the things that I built at the time was a painting tool that you could apply to text, like to models, and then a few 3D modeling tools. And so I'm rebuilding it, but with a focus on modding, which is why it's been so hard. But I'm getting really close, and a lot of things are going good now. So the biggest problem I ran into is I like TypeScript, but I haven't found a TypeScript compiler for Unity, which is a .NET environment, which is really too technical to even get into. But the point is, it's actually in JavaScript, so I do the TypeScript compilation on my computer. So for anyone who wants to write mods, they're going to have to learn a little bit of that. But I'll probably make a tutorial on this channel to show you how to do it too. So anyway, point is, I'm working on a tool for you. Horizon is no longer an all-in-one creator tool. And the sooner we all accept that, the better off we're going to be. It's heartbreaking because that's what we came from, but you're going to need to learn a tool like Blender, or if you prefer VR like me, perhaps the tool I'm building later this year might be something that you're interested in. And I look forward to showing you guys more when it's closer to being ready to use. For reference, my like driving star right now is two parts. Number one, I want to build an app that is a social VR 3D modeling tool that you can then take the models and use them for whatever you want, whether that's Horizon, or if you decide to go to a different platform, you can do that too. I know Horizon stability lately has been trying. I understand that. So I know a lot of our past followers and friends have kind of moved on from Horizon because of the stability issues. They're working on it, but they've said that for 3 or 4 years. So I'm not entirely convinced. But I'd like to be hopeful. I try to remain optimistic despite that. So anyway, the 3D modeling tool will be, just a general fun tool, and I hope you'll like it when it comes out. So I'll keep you posted as it develops. It's a lot of work. And so that's number one guiding principle is a social VR 3D modeling tool, because I feel like that's what we loved the most about Horizon. It's definitely what made me make this YouTube channel in the first place, was because of that social VR 3D modeling experience. And now that it's gone, I want to recreate that thing that I fell in love with. And then the second guiding principle I have is I told my wife I'm going to make an app for her to design her dream home in. And so I'm building that. Those are the two things. I'm like, those two things, that's the intersection I'm building. And I feel like if you can build a dream home, you can then build that and bring it into Horizon and build your dream hangout space. And so anyway, we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted. Hopefully that answers your question there, Georgie. And thanks for asking, because I totally feel what you're saying there. Look at these stumps. This one specifically is good. The other one, yeah, this one's good. I should have hit the down button. This one is okay. I'm not going to say it's good. Let's see how that tree stump comes in. They're saving right now. Can I compress that? No. It has this option to like slide this. I guess you can just make that one bigger. Tree stump, come on, tree stump. Waiting for you. Come on, tree stump. There we go. Okay, pulling the tree stump out. We've got light here, so that should help with the color. Ooh, okay. We've definitely got this really interesting wood. I wonder if specifying like a darker color on the outside could be good. We've also got that, this inside color is fantastic. It looks a little too alive to me, but the outside color is interesting. I'm kind of wondering if we grab a tint color of like a brown, if we can make this, like maybe this is why they added this tinting, because they knew the colors were so bad. They were like, we'll just let them make it better. 0.5, see, like that's getting better. 0.9, brightness of 0.5. Let's make this a 0.6. Yeah, like that. So you can definitely choose a color, choose the brightness, 0.3 even, kind of get that to the right. Like that looks so much better. 0.4 maybe. So yeah, this 3D modeling tool for organics, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This other tree stump I wasn't a huge fan of. Like we had 4 designs to choose from. And yeah, that one's okay too. I feel like this almost looks like beech wood is what I would say. It's like bleached like a beech log would be. Very interesting. Okay, cool. Cool, I'm glad we got to do that. Okay, heading back to the chat, guys. Lots of questions coming in. So let's see here. Jeff was saying that the texture thing isn't working. That's what we were going to look at. I forgot. Let's go ahead and check that out. So we've got this one, which I don't care that much about. So let's generate a texture for it. We go to generative AI. We go to generate a texture. And oh, the generate button is gray. We're going to call this a stump. It looks like it's working for me. Jeff, do you happen to be in not Canada, not UK, or not the US? Like, are you outside of those 3, or are you in the US or one of the other 2? Curious. Like, you don't need to share. I'm just wondering if like maybe they didn't expand texture generation all the way correctly. Like maybe it's only US still. I'm not really sure. It seems to be working though. If you look at the thumbnail, it's brighter. Oh, you mean it's gray. If you look at the thumbnail, it's brighter. Huh. Okay, so the texture, it's not that the texture generator is broken, it's that it's not generating what it shows. That is a rendering issue with like Unity, which is what we're built on. So what you're experiencing there is that when you take a texture and bring it into Horizon, the coloring is completely different. So that's just something that you have to experiment with a little bit. And I think you might be able to use that tool we were just looking at, that that 3D model, like brightening and lightening and coloring tool, to maybe modify it to hit exactly what you're looking for. But yeah, so I don't think that's necessarily like a bug with it. I think that's just like the rendering of Horizon. It applies color and lighting and such. So I don't think that's the issue. I could be wrong though, but that's my guess. Okay, we still don't have this texture, so we'll just keep going through the chat. The next person we have is Brianna asking, oh, name of this app. We already said that. It's Horizon Worlds. Welcome in. Let's see. We did to make it a little brighter. I see a lot of people have joined. I'm sorry. I'm still racing through some of our older messages as quickly as I can. We're almost caught up. How do you recommend to reference entities or objects from other entities? We already did that. Saves a temp file. We took care of that. We didn't have that issue, thankfully. But if you do have that issue, that's a good tip. So if you see a temp file, look in your thing and use the file that's the one that you actually want. It now checks the script to see if they will compile and changes things. Oh, that's how it fixed it. Thank you, DeAndre, for explaining that. That's awesome. So that explains why the scripts are working, because it's actually checking to make sure they compile. Brilliant, brilliant. Oh, that's such a smart thing to do. The specialist is a little better sometimes. So good to know. So good to know. Oh, I love that. I love that insight. So fantastic. Oh my gosh, you just broke my brain. I'm so happy. Like, that made me so happy. So many happy fibers are flying off. Great job, team who implemented that. Nick says C+ add all imports. Need an ESLint config for these things. Interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I might be a little out of my depth here on that comment. A thumbnail for custom assets would definitely be nice. Yeah, I don't know why that didn't work. It's so strange. Osprey, great to have you. He says sound. Finally made it. I'm hoping you can hear me. It looks like audio is going through. So glad you made it, Osprey. And Three-Eyed Tiger, welcome in. Great to have you. Welsh contingent RN. Three-Eyed Tiger sending X's. I'm not going to presume I know what those X's mean, but it immediately made me think of Excision. And you go, I've never been, but I'd love to go to a concert and raise my X for anybody who's an Excision fan. Drew, I'm curious about best practices when locking the camera view for mobile with multiple players. That's very curious. I don't know that I have a good answer to that, Drew. There's a lot of camera options for mobile. They're all very difficult to implement, and you can spend hours working on it. I think I spent one day I was building a simple like viewer. In fact, I'll show it to you. I think I showed it in a previous live stream, but I don't mind showing it again. This texture generator still hasn't generated. As far as I'm concerned, that's broken. Maybe we've hit our Gen AI cap for the day. It's hard to say. But I'm going to show you something I built a while ago. It took about 6 hours, I want to say. It was a dungeon generator. So I'm going to have to search dungeon. If I can remember the name of this. Dungeon generator. This has got to be it. No, that's the old one. Dungeons. Here it is. I gave up on this. So feel free to take it on if that's something you guys want. I'm not giving away the scripts in case I do come back to it, but definitely feel free to take the idea and run with it. I'm just too busy with this current Unity build project. But here we go, close Gen AI. Let's go into World Simulation on, hit play. And so basically there's this table that shows you the generated dungeon, and then you press E to view it, and it gives this top-down view. But what's interesting about it is it does it based on which orientation you are in. That's not easy to do. So anyone who's done locked off camera perspectives on mobile knows that you really only get to set it to 1. But then I went and calculated where they were standing around the table, and then created these positions. Now it's really curious. It only shows. Oh, because I forgot. I haven't done this dungeon generator in a while. Oh, and I need a light. Grab a light. Here we go. There we go. Nice. So as you explore, the way it works is once you explore an area, it adds it to the map. This is cool. This is so cool. Man, I wish I had finished this. This is such a cool thing. There's got to be a dead end. There is no way this... How does this keep going? It just keeps going and going and going. Will I ever find my way out? Oh, this is a dead end. I was like, this has got to be a dead end. I was like, this tile is always a dead end. Tile the upward stairs because I never implemented a 3D environment for it. So it makes me laugh because I know there's no way to go up, but it's always taunting everyone else to think, oh, is there another floor? I would love to do that one day. All right, and we should be back. There we go. And so now when you come back to it, you can actually see that that's generated, and it's pretty neat, pretty neat. So that generates the map, and then you can see it. Cool. And so the idea was that, you know, you could like view the game, which is similar to that one game. It's that really fun game. What is that called? That's there's a lot of games like that. Between Murder Village, and then you've also got the one by Meta that they did with a map. Anyway, it's cool. All right, let's head back to the office hours world and keep rolling through these questions. Good questions, everyone. I don't know if I really answered your question, Drew. My point was that it's difficult. I don't know if there's any best practices. I definitely don't have any. If you have specific questions about specific mobile camera stuff, maybe bring your scripts into the TypeScript General of the Vidyuu Discord, link in the description. Welcome in, Tay. Great to have you. Better with cartoon. Okay. I think I understand that. Hey, it's Flex Ty. Great to have you, Flex. Try a rock arch and then using boulders to create the cave formation. Now that's a good tip. I am going to stop on the 3D model generation for now because I feel like we spent a lot of time on it, but great tip there. Facts. Use small objects big. Nice. Jeff says, I posted in 3D modeling channel of the Discord. Hey, me too, Laex. Sorry, these are like outdated me reading messages. I'm almost caught up though. Not like that, it's an Android app. OMG, sounds advanced. Where are the legs? Is this what you wanted? There's no way that's what you wanted. I'm so sorry. There are legs. Aren't there? We just had legs. Hit play. There are legs. What are you talking about? I'm so confused. Is it because it's just my torso? Do you really want this? That's not easy to do. I'm getting old, guys. I'm a middle-aged dad. Georgie says, did you hear about the extension for Blender and Horizon Worlds? Is it worth using? I have not heard about it. That's curious. I would definitely give it a try and then report back in the Vidyuu Discord. Love to hear more about it. Black, gray, white tint works for good lighting without static light. Interesting. Can you make a primitive and generate a texture for it? That's what I was trying to do there, Jeff, and it didn't seem to be working. And we've now left and come back. We can check and see if it ever generated. I don't think that's how it works because you have to hit apply and you have to save it. But like that's how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to be able to like click on the model, click generate a texture, and then say tree stump, and then it shouldn't have taken that long. I don't know why it took so long. So we'll let that go again. Let's keep reading. I posted my example in the Discord. Thanks, Jeff. I'll take a look while we're waiting. Go to Google Chrome, head on over to Discord, and la-di-da-di-da. Got some messages coming in from the friends at work. Okay, let's see. 3D modeling general. Color is washed out. It's super gray. This is taking me a second. Jeff is null value point. No? Is this true? Good to know. It's so hard with YouTube usernames. Okay, thank you. Good to catch. Let's see. That definitely does. Whoa. That's interesting. It's using the wrong part of the texture? It looks like it's using the white part of the texture, not the colored part of the texture. It's very strange. Washed out super gray, added light to try fixing it, but it just shows there's no color, and here's the downloaded texture. Weird. So weird. Yeah, definitely would report that in the desktop editor. There should be a way to report. Let's see. We go to, let's see. I'm going to report the fact that this isn't loading. Oh, wait, never mind. It just loaded. Haha. But we're getting the same error, right? So here we can see it, and it's previewing the texture, but we can't see like it's not using this texture at all. Like this is a good texture, but it doesn't appear to be using it. Save and apply texture. Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you're absolutely right. This is not working. That is a really good texture. Holy smokes, is that a good texture? that saves this 3D model. This 3D model was awful, but you're right, it's not working. My assets, let's see. Let's just try some dumb fixes like duplicating it. Does that do anything? Nope. Selecting texture. Do we have this texture saved? Generated texture, that looks like the generated texture. Doesn't seem to have done anything because that's the texture. Yeah, and choosing brown shouldn't be your option. Like, that should not be the way to fix this. 0.8. Yeah, this is bad. 0.5. 0.2. 0.5. I don't know. Yeah, where's the report button? So there should be a report button here in the desktop editor. Let's see if we can find it. Where is it? They've moved it. I thought it was a hover button around here somewhere. Report a problem. Here it is. Select type, issue, select category, generative AI, title, texture, not generating with color, or not applying. Applying with color. The texture looks perfect, but when applied, doesn't show the color. Add files to report. Automatic screen capture, sure. And then submit. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Somebody's got to have like reported this, right? So that's, oh, there's a way to track it. Interesting. I've never done that before. There's another place to report called Zendesk. There we go. And so here on Zendesk, you can hit submit a request. This is another way to report it. So both our options are valid. There's no way to, well, I guess there is that way to track it. So anyway, I'm going to close out of that and close out of that. There we go. Heading back over here to your guys' questions. Hopefully that helps. Thank you guys, Null Value. I can't decide whether to call you Jeff or Null. I think I'm going to go with a mix between the two. Osprey says, how do we import sounds or music? If you didn't get to see that, Osprey, it should be pretty straightforward. You just hit add new audio and then choose a file. It looks like it uses WAV files. I don't know if I've got any lying around. Desktop. Is there music in here? Probably from Power Wash we made some music. Nope, not in there. Downloads. Search downloads for .wav. None. Yeah, I don't think I have any on here. But yeah, that appears to be that simple. So, should work. If not, report it. We just showed you how. Back on over here. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's weird that, oh, right, never mind. I understand. No Gen AI in Germany. I know, it's sad, Nick. I'm so sorry. Hopefully they'll expand to, the rest of Europe and Germany soon. Germany's in Europe, right? Like, I'm not crazy. I know it's like on the far side, but that's still what I'd call Europe. Let's see what else we got in here. Dubstep Squad. Okay, I'm done. Let's see. If I export geometry and import it after, it doesn't allow me to generate a texture for it for some reason. I wonder, George, if you got the same problem I did, where it was like being weird. I left and came back, tried again. It took a little bit, but it still generated. Give that a shot. See if it works. I'm glad you liked the dungeon game, Drew. It's definitely something I wish I had more time for, but I think that's something I'd have to spend about 6 months to build it as featured as I want, because you'd want like potions and chests and searching and monsters and weapons, and it's at least a 6-month project. So I just unfortunately don't have time for that, but it's pretty cool. I can't generate textures for assets that were created with multiple meshes yet. If you want to generate a texture for this asset, re-import it as a single mesh. It gives me this message. Yes, that makes sense. In Blender, we've covered this in the past. I think I can quickly demonstrate it. Let's see if I remember how to do it. There's a feature called join. So let's go ahead and open up Blender. This should be pretty easy to demo. And then I would recommend having 2 copies, you know, one that you don't modify. So we're just gonna delete the basic stuff, delete, delete, and I'm gonna duplicate this cube, Control D. That doesn't duplicate, right click. Is there a duplicate? Control D. I don't know how to duplicate in Blender. I don't use Blender, I'm sorry. Let's click Add, Mesh, Cube. Okay, then we got 2 cubes, and then we can move this one. We'll just slide it over, slide it over, slide it up. There we go. And then maybe back a little bit to give it that kind of look. 1 and 1. Nice. And down. Cool. That's kind of what I was going for. And so now we got these 2 cubes. So we select them, right click. What is it? Is it tab into edit mode? Or, yeah. Switch to edit mode, then press J to join. Right click. How do I join? Oh my gosh, I'm so out of oops, what did I do? Control Z. What did I do? What did I do? Did I mention I was out of practice? J to join. Object mode, edit mode. Ooh, what have I done? Deselect, deselect. Ah! Okay, we're starting over. File, file, new, general, don't save. Okay, we're trying again. Delete hierarchy, add mesh cube, add mesh cube, move this one to 1, 1, 1, there we go, and then tab into edit mode, select all, or which is A key, right? Why isn't it selecting all? Object mode, right click, join, there's the join button. Okay, so I've joined them. And then that might be it. I think that's all you have to do. Maybe it's in object mode. Right click. Do I need to join these here? No. Okay, so it must be in object mode, join. And now we click File, Export, FBX, 2 downloads. Call this 2 cubes, 2 cubes, export FBX. Okay. Don't save. All right, back into Horizon, and then we'll click Add New 3D Model. Don't care about that. Upload from Downloads, 2 cubes, open. If I'm not mistaken, and I could very well be mistaken because I haven't done this in a couple months, but we've just joined the cubes so that they will effectively be one thing in Horizon. So you can see it's just this one object. And now I should be able to generate a texture. Go to Gen AI. Go to generate a texture, and then call this stylistic Minecraft. Does it know what Minecraft is? I have no idea. Go crazy there, Gen AI. But that should work. I'm not getting any errors so far, so that's the solution. Hopefully that helps you there, getting that working. All right. AI generation are better with cartoon. Ah, I see. I think the dark mode on your Discord is broken. I don't like dark mode. Please tell me it's not dark mode, because I like light mode. Yeah, that's... You're pranking me. You're pranking me. I like light mode because I work outside in the sun, and dark mode hurts my eyes, so light mode makes the screen brighter and easier to see. Like right now... Outside. Outside. I lose my mind sometimes, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's keep going through you guys' questions. It has the texture, just no color. Yep, we've gone over that. You can save the texture and then apply it. You can download the texture and then see what it really looks like. They have to be 4800 WAV file. I wrote a Python script to convert MP3. Nice. How can I determine XY press? Ah, yes, I've got that message written down, Nick. We'll get there. I'm so sorry. We'll get to that one really quick. Instead of just button 1 and 2. Jeff again says, I didn't create a report because I couldn't get anyone else to check and confirm if it was me or not. Yeah, I know. And it really sucks that we can't all pool in and vote on one report. So I would still report it so they're getting at least us 2, and then anyone else who's having that problem, I'd also report it. There we go. Okay, we are caught up. So I've got a bunch of topics for us to go over. 2 of them are Nick's. So let's go quickly look at that texture. Ooh! Oh! It's, you know, it's totally missing the color, just like we said before. In fact, I want to screenshot this. Let's go to my screenshot button right there. And new screenshot, just so that I can save this for later in case I need to upload the report somewhere. There we go. Because that totally is off. Save and apply texture. There we go. That's going to save it. Oh, my poor nosy is having an attack. But yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a lot better than I thought it was going to do. That's kind of funny. Really knocked the Minecraft prompt out of the park, if you ask me. It's definitely messed up on a lot of places, which is really interesting, isn't it? It's so interesting because right here what we're seeing is kind of what would happen if you took a Minecraft texture and then uploaded it to a normal like Unity project. There's a special way to render it so it looks like this, so it's somehow blended between the two. It's very weird. Very weird. Okay, cool. Let's get into some of our next questions because there's a lot of them. Nick has 2 questions that I have got. So we've got about button presses, and wanting to get, instead of just 1 and 2, wanting to know X, Y. There's definitely a way to do that. We'll look into it. And then the second question from Nick is binding related to bindings. Then we have a question about resetting the world every 10 minutes. If you are here, person who asked the world, I'm so sorry I forgot your name, I didn't write it down. If you're here and you asked about the resetting world, can you please post about it in the comments just to let me know that you're still interested in resetting the world every 10 minutes? And if you weren't here and didn't ask that question but are still interested, also comment and we can show that. And then there was we wanted to potentially talk about avatar scale, would be kind of cool. Avatar scale utility script for code blocks potentially. For code blocks, question mark. And then there was a question potentially about doing other utility scripts for code blocks. There was a visits leaderboard if people are interested in that. Leaderboard. Any other things I missed on this? That covers it. Okay. So we've got a nice clean list here. And we're going to start with the easy one, which is button presses. Oh, download the texture and it looks nothing like the thumbnail. So crazy. That is so curious. Okay, so feeling a little intimidated here, but we can do this. We're going to start with the easy stuff, which is to build something we can grab. And because we've got this cool Minecraft block we created, let's use that. Scale, let's go set that to 0.05. 0.05. That is tiny. That is tiny. 0.1. 0.15. There we go. Now we got a nice little grabbable object. We're going to change this to be interactive. We're going to have that all set up, and then we're going to create a script for it. And we're going to call this grabbable underscore entity and enter 3 dots, open an external editor. And now that we've got our grabbable entity, I don't like HC dots, so I'm getting rid of them. And there we go, and there we go. Backspace the T, retype the T, booyah. Okay, so we're gonna need a pre-start, which is where we're gonna start receiving these events. And the goal is just to console log when these events happen. And so we need to know when the buttons are pressed. So connect code block event. I'm just going through the basics, and then we can figure out why it's hard. This dot entity comma code block events dot start or press button. So we got button 1 down, button 1 up, button 2 down, button 2 up. So theoretically, button 1 is X, button 2 is Y, or vice versa. And then you just need to know which hand it's in. So we'll just do button 1 down, button 1 down, and then this callback, let's see what it has. I'm pretty sure there's a way to do this correctly. So it just has the player. So this is just mirroring the code block event. I think there is another one. Control-C, Control-V. And we have button 2 down. And so down here, we can do button down, and then parentheses, player, player, and then comma is button 1, number, or Boolean, and then, oops, Control-C, and then curly braces. Okay, so we got button down, and then is button 1, which we can then call from up here. I'm going to collapse that, and then say button down, parentheses, player, comma, is button 1, that's true. Semicolons, because I like semicolons, and then we'll just copy paste that. Control-C, Control-V, change this to false. Okay, so now we've got both of these events coming through just one nice little clean area. That's nice. The question is, why do we not know which button is? Because I could swear there's a way to do this. Let's check the API. Let's go to Types, Horizon Core, and we're going to command find the X button. Okay, that's going to be hard to find. Y button. Maybe we're just going to look through everything about buttons. Button, 73 options. We can do this. On button 1 down, on index down. Okay, there's these ones. That's the ones that we already know about, so that's pretty easy. Now here we got them again, I believe. Button 1 down, button 1 up. Okay, so those are the code block versions. Class button extends. It might only be possible on a local script, because I could swear I've seen this before. Okay, I think we're in button pressed event, data, mesh asset. This doesn't seem relevant. Button props. This is for something else. Set texture. This is for set mesh. Strange. Okay, keep going. This is their example. So I guess they're just creating a button as an example, just to show how it would work. Button icon, that's not what we're looking for. Button placement, also not what we're looking for. Player input action, jump, right primary. Here we go. This is what we're looking for. And player input action is what we needed. So now that we've found what we're looking for, this player input action, we need to figure out, oops, Control-C, Control-C. We need to figure out where this is used, because we can see that the right primary is 1, right secondary is 2, right tertiary is 3, right grip 4, right trigger, and then they got left as well. And that is what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and search for this and see where it's coming from. Player input action, action pressed, player input action. How do we do this? Player input action has several spots. Declaring player input action happens here. Then they're declaring the player input state change callback. Not fully wrapping my head around it. There's a button here that we can read a little bit more about. Let's keep going. Yeah, so player input, this is going to be a local script if I'm not mistaken. And so on a local script, we can receive this action, which is where we get that information. So you might have to use a local script to get this information, which is not fun. Local scripts are way harder than they should be. Player controls, is input action supported? On that, identifies, okay. Connect local input. Ooh, this is interesting. Returns list of, oh no, here it is. Connect to input events from the local player. Ah, so it has to be, yep, here it is on a local player. You connect local input just like we did, but to a local value. Let's see, we're almost through all of this. So, trigger input action. Triggers the down event for the input action. Okay, so that more or less sorts it out. We're going to do a quick demo. Let me read through the chat and see if that helped a little bit, Nick. Reading through here. I know how to do it with the grab, but I want it to happen when they aren't grabbing any object. This works when not grabbing any object because it's a local script. So yes, I'll show you that too. Explaining it for others would also be helpful to get started. Okay, it's just counting the visits. I'm still trying to figure out local scripts. Local scripts are really hard. I've got an example of where I've got this thing working, but it's so convoluted, I think it'd be better to just show it here. So let's go ahead and try to wrap our brains around it very quickly. I'm not going to go too deep. If you've got follow-up questions on this, Nick, please be sure to ask. I'm going to try and do like a pretty good, but it's going to be fast. So if you've got follow-up, bring them to the Vidyuu Discord. Link in description for anybody else who wants to as well. Let's go. So we've got this cube, and we're going to use the first grab start. Let's not. We're just going to non-interactive, turn it off. No interaction for you. We don't have these connecting events for that. What we need to know instead is we just need to figure out who's being assigned, and we're just going to do player enter world. Player enter world. We're going to remove this parameter, and then we're going to change this to be player enter world, and then we're going to connect this to the player enter world. So we can delete all that, and then rename this to player enter world. There we go. Okay. Control save. So now player enter world is called when a player enters the world. Because it's just me for testing purposes, I know it's going to assign it to me. We then need to transfer ownership of this script. So we need to say this.entity.owner.set to the player. There we go. Now this is going to rerun the world start events, and I'm going to have to remember a lot of stuff I haven't done in a while. So I might be looking at some old scripts to try and figure it out. But yeah, so this is going to set the owner, and then we have this script attached to this, do we not? We do not yet, so let's go ahead and attach this script, the grabbable entity. Now to make it a local script, we go to the scripts drop-down, 3 dots, and then execution mode is set to local. And now that that is a local script, it's going to do the local stuffs. We're going to head over to the console, clear, and our goal is to do the same thing as we did before, but for a local script. Now, we're going to have the start event run. We need to know the server player, so we're going to say constant server player equals this dot world dot get server player, and then parentheses, and then we can say constant owner equals this dot entity dot owner dot get. And now that we've got both the server player and the owner, we can then say if parentheses server player does not equal owner. This is basically saying when the world, so the start event runs whenever, it runs obviously when the world is started, but it also runs whenever the ownership is transferred. So when the player enters the world, we're setting the owner, which then reruns the start. It resets its state and starts back over from scratch. And so in this start event, we're now finding out that the server player is different from the person who was just assigned as owner, and then we can do special stuff for that owner. And what we need to do is a button input, and I haven't done this in a while, so oof, I'm just kind of guessing. Button input of type button input? Isn't that a thing? Okay, we're going to need to look at an example. Let's roll back to where did I use this last? So you can get to your old scripts from your other worlds by clicking Reveal in File Explorer. And then from File Explorer, you can go up a level, and then here's all the scripts. I want to say I did this in Murder Manor. That's what I was thinking. And this would be in the most recent versions. So what do we got? 79.0, 79.1. It's got to be more recent than that, right? We're in 81, aren't we? I think they changed the naming convention, so that's probably what this is. Scripts. Okay, so this would be on the weapon manager, or is this this might be older than, never mind, this is old. It'll be in version 79 too. Scripts, scroll down to weapon, here we go. Weapon gun is where it would be, and I think this is the local script. So we're going to open this up. We have maybe it's not in here. Is this not local? This isn't local. Where do I use local scripting? I avoid it at all as much as I can, so it's not surprising. I guess I have a local thing. Let's see. Local. Local empty entity. It's a terrible name, but here it is. Right trigger. Player input. That's what it's called. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so what we need to know is this input, which we're going to define here at the top. And so we're just going to call this player, call this right button 1, which is of type player input or undefined. And then we can control C, control V, and then we have player input 2. And I feel like there's got to be a way to do all of these better, but this is the only way I know. So we're just going to go ahead and do it. Left, left. So we got right, right, left, left. And then we'll see in here probably where this is defined. Okay, so this is saying if it's a cross screens device, and then this dot owner events dot networked. Okay, maybe I don't have it in here because that's not it. Down here, set camera, swing icon, connect button inputs. Here it is. So we've got this connect button inputs where we have a player coming through. So let's do that just like they, or I did, just like they did. I guess it was me. So we'll go down here and say connect button inputs, parentheses, player, colon, player. I'm following a tutorial made by myself. This is wild. Okay, and then we're going to call this right here. So we'll call connect button inputs, parentheses, player, oops, which is owner. There we go. Okie doke. And now under connect button inputs, and you'll notice there's a disconnect as well down here, which is just right trigger dot disconnect. The reason there's a disconnect is because the button is shown when it's connected. So when you connect it, the button appears on screen, and when you disconnect it, the button disappears. So at certain times, like, you want to have the button available and sometimes you don't. And so here we go. This dot right trigger equals player controls dot connect local input. Okay, let's give that a shot. So we're going to say right button 1 equals player controls dot connect local input, parentheses, and it says we need a input, so we're going to say player input action. That's where we saw that before. Player input action dot, and now we get all of those options we were talking about. So right secondary and right tertiary. I'm so sorry. Primary, I think, is the trigger. I'm not really sure. We'll go with secondary here, and then the next thing it needs to know is the icon. So do button icon dot whatever you want it to be. So we'll use aim for now, and then comma disposable object. Disposable object that controls the lifetime of this connection. Interesting. I don't know if we need that. Let's just leave it empty. Let's see what it says. What did we do here? We said button icon this. This is the thing. Okay, comma this. You got it. All right, and then control C, control V, and then we can do that for right button 2. Change that to the tertiary, right. And you can do that for all the buttons, right? Like you do the trigger as well. And I think we're just going to set up those two as a demonstration. And then what we want to do is receive that, which must be happening somewhere. So we have a register callback, which we then did input received. And so let's create that as well. So we had input received, parentheses, which probably receives a player, and it also receives the input action, which is of type input action, player input action. Okay, and then we can say if parentheses input. In fact, I'm not going to do this, but what you would do potentially if you're using this is if input action triple equals input action dot, and then we do right, whichever one you're trying to compare for, and then / do things. For this demo though, I'm just going to do console.log parentheses input action, and then we'll see that happen on the console to prove that it's working. And that should just about do it. Okay, clear. Scripts are compiling. We got that blue icon. There it goes. Finished compiling. World simulation is now on. Playing the world. We've now entered the world, so this thing should be tracking us. We're then going to press the F key, it looks like. Didn't do anything. Y key. Didn't do anything. There's those buttons in the bottom left, so would have expected those to do something. No. No. Weird. Weird. That should have done something. Let's see if I miss... Oh, I forgot to do the connecting. I'm so sorry. It's so simple to forget this. So then we'd say this dot right button 1 dot register callback, parentheses, callback receives the input action, and then arrow function, curly braces, and then call input received, parentheses with the player, comma, and the input action. And I like semicolons, so we'll put one there and there, Shift Alt F, Control Save, and then do that one more time, Control C, Control V, but for our button 2, Control Save. Okay. Compiling one more time, and done. Start, play. And then I press F, there's the console log. Press V, there's the, oh, it reset the world. Play. Press F, press V, or Y, V is voice. Haha. Mute. There we go. Okay, so it's working. Nice. Cool. So yeah, hopefully that helps you. Let me know how that does. Maybe, camera, there we go. Whew. So just going to quickly read through the messages and get caught up. But is it just counting the visits, or is it by how long they've been in the world? I was thinking we'd count it on a unique per day. Honestly, you can make it up. Whatever you want, White Sword, just ask. I'm still trying to figure out local scripts. The only one I got working so far was the first-person camera. Adam Carter says, hi, when I use NPCs to try and see, I'm going to read through all of Nick's messages first, Adam, then I'll come right back. Nick says, and to follow up on the question, should I perform the game logic inside the local script or the server script? Definitely keep it in the server script unless you need something for local. Like, this is one thing you need for local. You would then send a networked event to some script, because when you're on a local script, you can't engage with any of the data in the cloud. So say on your server, where server player is, you're tracking all the stats and all the things and everything about the game. The local script can't engage with any of that data unless you send a networked event. So you need to use a networked event to communicate. Let me know if we need to cover that too. Okay. Like, do I only use the local script for detecting the XY press and then that logic to the server to process the game logic? Yes. There might be some that you want to keep local. Like if it's a gun, for instance, you need it to be snappy. So local scripts are snappier. There's some, downsides to that, I think. So sending events is pretty fast, depending on the player's server connection. So if it's not needing to be snappy like a gun press, then I would send it to the server so that nothing's really happening on the local script. Okay. Tetrary, if I'm saying that even close to right, might be the joystick press. Oh, you're right. It could be. Good call. Also, you have the hands backwards. It should be left hand for XY. Ah, sorry about that. Okay, let's see. Hi, Dunder. Great to have you. Let's see. Nick, last one from Nick, and then I'll get back to the top here. For example, my game logic would be send the player back to level start or save the player a spawn point at that position. Yeah, I would put that on the server. Just send an event to tell them to go back, so you don't have to have all that stuff stored on your local script. It just becomes way harder to send all that data and update it and whatnot. So just, yeah, definitely send a networked event to your manager saying what you want to do. Okay, cool. Rolling back up to the top, we've got Adam asking, hello Adam, great to have you. When I use NPCs to try and simulate a player lobby, it seems that after 2 teleports, it stops working. I used the multiplayer lobby tutorial. Interesting. I've done a few things trying to figure it out. I'm out of ideas. Second quick question is how to get other people to help play test. I see you can invite, but I tried setting out and the person didn't get it. Do they have to be MHCP also? They shouldn't have to be MHCP. That shouldn't be a problem. Them not getting it is weird. They might need to like leave Horizon and come back. They might also be looking in the wrong section. They need to go down to the editing section to accept. There's also a lot of bugs in Horizon, so it could just be a bug. If you're needing help finding people, check out the Vidyuu Discord, link in the description. There's a finding testers, I forgot what it's called. Let's see, it's called volunteer testers. So that's a place you can go to ask for help. So feel free to check that out. I don't know how helpful it is, but there are people there who like to test things. I know Osprey's in the chat with us, and Osprey's been a fantastic tester. I've really enjoyed working with him. I've seen him help others, so you might end up working with him and many others that are pretty awesome people in the Vidyuu Discord. So feel free to ask for help there. As far as NPCs go, it's a little out of scope for today's lesson, office hours. I'm not sure I have a good answer to this. NPCs are very hard to use. It's just like they have restrictions on certain things that you can do to them. Their movement is kind of hard to do. They'll probably get better over time, but I feel like genuinely they were released early for us to play with, but not finished, and in such a way that is actually very painful to use. I don't know that I would try to overly use them in my next world. I spent way too many countless dozens of hours building the ones that are in Outbreak. So definitely they're very hard to use. And there's certain things that if you try to do to them, that don't work. Like if they walk into a trigger that you've got set up for regular players, but that trigger isn't set up to detect NPCs, and then detecting NPCs I've found is very difficult because sometimes they report that they're a real player even though they're not. This might be better because I haven't tried it in a month and a half, but the point is it's a little out of scope because I just don't know how to help in this next. We have about half an hour left till I got to run. So I'm sorry about that, Adam, but definitely feel free to use the Vidyuu Discord to post some of the stuff you're working, some video screenshots, some scripts, and see if we can get you some help in there. Okay. There's also the option of just not using NPCs. Mentioning that it's the hardest thing I've done. I hope that helps. Like add some context to the difficulty of the task. It's definitely one of the hardest things in Horizon at this point. Okay. So great that you found the channel, Adam. Really glad to have you. It will teleport only 2 out of the X before it just stops. That's weird that it even teleports them. In my experience, they didn't. Did they teleport? I guess they did teleport, didn't they? How did we teleport them? My memory's a little fuzzy. Like I said, I've been gone for a little bit. I'm working on a Unity project right now, so I'm not fully in sync with Horizon at this exact moment, but very curious. The counting, the number, the fact that it works for 2 and not the number after that, in my mind, that tells me that maybe there's an array that has a bunch of these spawn points in it, and you're running out of spawn points, perhaps. So I would look in, verify that the spawn point, you can do console.log array.length and find out the length of that array. And I have a memory of teleport not working, and I think that could be wrong, because I also have a memory of it working. I have literally 2 memories. They're both conflicting. One where it works and one where it doesn't. So I don't actually know. I think in one memory it was using a spawn point gizmo, and I don't think that one worked. And then it was like if I used, no, maybe it's the reverse of that. I genuinely don't know. And then the other one was using player.position.set. And I genuinely can't remember, but I felt like one of those did work and one didn't. And I don't remember. Maybe they both work. I literally have no clue. I was just like, sorry. We could try it. I'll write it down as an option if we have time at the end, but I don't think we will. NPC teleporting. I would like to know how long they've been in world, just because I feel like that gives you more information if people are actually visiting and spending time. Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I see. White Sword was asking. Okay. I'll put that down as a note on that. Time spent in world. Time spent in world. Absolutely. Absolutely, White Sword. I will say, White Sword, very quickly that in the 17-hour tutorial, we have player time tracking included in that script. So if you take apart those scripts, you're going to find a spot where it does like a 1-minute update. So every minute, it adds 1 to the player's persistent variable. It's a JSON object, so it's not a number. But you could then simply add a leaderboard, and at the same time that you're updating that number, set the leaderboard to whatever that value is, and that would track minutes. Or you could divide by 60 to get number of hours. So that is built into that 17-hour tutorial I made a while back. So feel free to check that out. Okay, button press. We've covered it. Sweet. I haven't seen anybody ask about reset world, so I'm crossing that off our list. Game addiction at all. For example, my game logic would be send player. Okay, I think we've gone through all of the comments. If I missed a question that somebody's asked in this whole entire live stream, feel free to repost it. The question I see next is bindings from Nick. Avatar scale, which is from me. I haven't done it yet. I've heard it's pretty cool. Potentially some code blocks integration, NPC teleporting, and a visits leaderboard. Okay, here we go. Which one are we starting with? I don't know. Let me go read the Nick's question on bindings. It was near the top. He says, how can I get if player pressing X or Y? We already talked about that. In custom UI, I know you can render the bindable value as text, but what if I want to do a condition render based on the binding value? Ah, that's actually pretty easy. Let's quickly cover that. Super easy, Nick. I need to remember, I'm going to put a note down here, just big star, and then call it Drive to remind me that we need to upload these files to Drive when we're done so that you guys can download them. Okay, so next up in Horizon, where am I going to find this file? Where am I going to find this file? Scripts, 3 dots, open scripts folder in Explorer. We're looking for a UI with a derived value. So we're going to go up a folder. I did most of my UIs inside of Power Wash. So let's go up to Power Wash. Should be in here somewhere. There it is, Power Wash. This looks good. Scripts, and go to Custom UI. Let's go to Color Picker Entity. Okay, so this is a big script. I'm assuming you know custom UI enough that when I show you this, it's just going to make sense. And so here is an example of this. So right here it says text. I'm going to zoom this in. Text is this.creditsBinding.derive. And so this is a number binding. And you've got this number, and it's saying if the credits triple equals -1, you own this, else new drip. And obviously you could do any sort of if statement here. It doesn't have to be a number binding. It could be any sort of binding. And then you just do this if else, and you can do an if else if else if else if else, or whatever you want, really. I should have a lot more examples of this. Deriving is what you're looking for. So let's see if I can find another derive. But I think that just about answers it. I was hoping to see some more in here, but I don't. Oh, here we go. Another simple one. This one just says HSV binding dot derive number, return the text plus colon space number dot to fixed. So it adds the number after some text. And, you know, there's lots of different ways you can use it. So hopefully that helps there, Nick. Oh. Sorry, that's not really an option, but there is a way to do it. So there is a way to do it, but not. It's hard to explain. Okay, I'm going to use my hands. So you can you cannot create a bindable view or a bindable UI node. That's not a thing. I tried. It doesn't report an error, but it doesn't work, and I've requested this. So what you instead have to do, which, okay, I want to say this politely, but it's like it's impossible to know everything. So I can't be too frustrated. But when I was trying to do that whole bindable UI node, no one told me that there was a feature called UI node.if, which basically does the same thing. Not really, but somewhat. And I'm going to show you how that works. And I need to make sure to mention that UIs are not meant to be pushed as far as we push them. And so realistically, you probably can't do more than a couple pages because the UI, when it's created, is turned into like a string somewhere along the lines. And when it turns it into a string, if you go over the string length limit, which I have no idea what it is, but if you do, it doesn't work. And like your script breaks and it doesn't explain why it's broken. And so then you just have to trim it down, and like style adds to the length and everything adds to the length. And at one point I was using code to write boxes and build a giant UI full of boxes, and that broke, and I could only do so many boxes by so many boxes. Then I added one style element and that broke it. So like UI nodes are very, very simple. They need to be kept simple. But two, if you have two, UI node.if allows you to do a deriving of a binding and then have one view and then another view. And let me show you an example of that. So let's see which one of these is going to have that. That's going to be in CUI, not radio tuner, power washer upgrade. No. What is the thing called? It allows you to, oh, tiers unlocked. It's a terrible name, that's the problem. Because I added functionality after I started it. Okay, so right here at the beginning, this is where you're gonna see it. It says return a view, and it's just this right here, UI node.if. And so it says this dot is on main menu. Now you could do a dot derive and return false or return true based on a derived value. But here we're just using a Boolean. And so if it is on the main menu, it's going to show the get main menu, else it's going to show the car menu. And here we can see getting the main menu. So this is one UI node. And then here's getting car menu. And so this effectively allows you to have multiple views. You could also do a tree of this where you could say, okay, this is one. And then in the else, you could do another UI node.if right here and then have two more and then two more. But like I mentioned, you just got to be careful not to hit the limit of the custom UI. So that's pretty much it. So that allows you to have 2 pages. And if you haven't seen that, I think the easiest way to demonstrate this is to open up Horizon from here. So go to, oh, wrong one. Command A, Horizon. There we go. And Power Wash. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of people there. Open world. Okay. Always a shocker to see people in our worlds. Let's go. 40 people. Oh my goodness. That is so cool. How awesome. Okay. So in Power Wash, we're just going to run over real quick and then leave before anyone realizes I'm there. We're going to show you the place where the menu does what you saw in the script. Okay, here we go. Running. All right. So right here, you can see that there's this menu. And then on this menu, you have this button that you can click, which opens another menu. Okay, they were getting loud. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so that shows you how you can go in, right? So UI node.if can have 2 separate menus. You could theoretically have 3 menus. Let's see if that answered your question. Thank you. Awesome. Glad that helped. I have to experiment. Yes, do some experimenting. If you have more questions, Discord's your answer. All right. We got 22 minutes on the clock. We are rolling pretty well. I hope you guys are okay. I want to just dive into this avatar scale thing. That sounds so cool. So we have these apartments that we found that we could fit into. So like when we scaled them up, but let's scale them back down. 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. So the idea is we're going to make it so small. And I think just to prove the functionality here, we're going to build a trigger. So gizmos, trigger. And when you enter the trigger, it's going to change your scale. And when you exit the trigger, it's going to change your scale. Like really simple stuff. Copy position, right click, paste position, rotation seems fine. Scale could be 2, 2, 2. There we go. Nice. Okay, so this is going to be the trigger scripts. Create new script called scale trigger underscore entity. Now I've never done this before, so I'm kind of excited, but also kind of nervous. So 3 dots, open an external editor. Now the script is pretty straightforward. If you've never done scripting before, this might be a good one to start with. I'll keep this pacing pretty easy. First thing, just like earlier, I don't like HZ dots, so I delete them. Then I retype the T, click enter to import it. So at the top here, I'm explicitly importing everything. Now we need to connect our events. So we're going to create a section called pre-start, which is where we do event connection. I don't like void, so I delete it. Start is also technically void. You just don't have to have it, and I prefer the way it looks like that. Now we're going to create our local methods for enter trigger and exit trigger. So we're going to say player enter trigger parentheses received with a player colon player, and then curly braces, then copy, Control C, Control V, and this one will be player exit trigger. There we go. And now we can connect those in pre-start by typing connect code block event. And we type this dot entity. So this is running on the trigger. So this is dot entity itself. We can then say connect the code block events with an S dot to the player enter trigger. So I type trigger and I can see all the trigger items. So player enter trigger. There we go. And then we're going to have a callback here, which is the player. Oops, Control Z. Player is the parameter, and then we arrow function to the right into curly braces where we put in player enter trigger, parentheses past the parameter player. I like semicolons, so I put one here and here. Semicolons are optional in TypeScript, but not in Unity's C#, which is why I use semicolons, so I have the muscle memory for when I go back to C# later. All right, so exit trigger is the next one, so I duplicate that by hitting Control C, Control V. We've changed this to exit trigger, and now we're going to change this to exit as well. And now that those are both connected, these methods will go off when you enter the trigger. And if I'm not mistaken, this should be as simple as typing player.scale, avatar scale dot set parentheses, and we're going to try 0.25, so 1/4 the scale, which should be the scaling to match that room. And then Control C, Control V, and right here we're going to scale it to 1. If we hover over the set, it'll tell us more about how this function works. And it just says almost near nothing. Sets the property value. There's no guarantee that this is synchronous. The property value to set. Okay, Control save. Okay, so let's give it a shot. We need to attach the script to this trigger. Teleport pull scale trigger. There we go. And clear. And clear. Turn simulation off and on again. Right click from right here. Preview from here. Now we're going to walk into this trigger. Whoa! That totally works. Walking out. It's a little glitchy, but there we go. Nice. And it's glitchy not because the effect is glitchy, but because we're scaling. And when we scale, we enter and exit it. And so what we want to do is perhaps try this. Go into the script to make this less glitchy. We say, this would be recent players, colon is a player array, which equals an empty array. And then when player enters trigger, we say if parentheses recent players dot includes parentheses player curly braces, then we're going to use an exclamation point at the beginning to say does not include player. And then we're going to add the player. We're going to add the player to the recent players. We say recent players dot push parentheses player. There we go. And that is going to add them to the array. And then players.avatar scale dot set to 0.25. And then when they exit the trigger, we're going to do the same thing. But yeah, same thing. Control C. Actually, is there a way to do this? There's a way to do this better. I don't like the way this is going to work, so we're going to change this to be player timestamps. This is going to work a lot better. And this is going to be equal to a new map where we take a player and we map the player to a number, which represents what time they entered. And so this is something you might not be familiar with, but it's pretty easy to use. And so then what we can say is, let's just backspace all this and try again. Player timestamps dot get parentheses player. Now this could be undefined if the player is not in the map. So what we're going to do is say question mark 0. So now it's going to be a number, parentheses, and then we say if that number is less or greater than, and so we're going to say constant current time equals date dot now. And now that we've got the current time, we can say, let's do this slightly differently. We got constant current time. We're going to do constant last time equals this value here. So that way we have this saved. Control X, Control V. So last time is a number. And then we can say if current time minus last time, that determines the amount of milliseconds. And I'm going to tag this with ms at the end so it's very clear that this is in milliseconds. And we'll do the same thing up here, player timestamps in milliseconds. And then we'll update that to be ms as well. And then, so we take Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. Current time in milliseconds minus the last time in milliseconds will tell us how many milliseconds it's been since they were here. And if that is greater than 1,000 milliseconds, we will then do the operation. And so I'm going to go ahead and copy. Well, actually, we're going to have to do one last thing here, which is player timestamps dot set the value. So we need to update for the player their value to be the current time in milliseconds. And then we can copy paste this down into the player exit trigger as well. There we go. And then change this to be 1 and Control save. And now because this code is identical, it's usually best to create a function for this or a method for this. And so we're going to call this update scale. And this is going to take a player of type player and a scale value, which will be a number, and then curly braces, Control V to paste it. And then instead of 0.25, we'll just type in scale. And now this can be used here in place of all that. So we can just type update scale, parentheses, with the number 1. And I need to pass the player parameter as well, player comma 1. And then Control C to copy that line. And then paste that right here, Control V. And then we'll change that back to 0.25, 0.25, Control save. All right, there we go. So that should be a lot smoother. There is this potential, which I'll show you, which becomes a little bit problematic, but not too bad. Clear, play. And so we're going to find that. Where'd it go? Over here. There it is. So we're going to walk in. No glitchiness. Walk out. No glitchiness. But you could walk in and walk out, and now you're permanently small. That's a feature. But yeah. So you might want to change it to be slightly less, like 500 milliseconds. There's also some other ways we could probably fix that, but I don't think we're going to cover that right now. Yeah, we're going to stop there. But yeah, it's a pretty cool little basic script. I think I'm going to change it to 500 milliseconds for now. So that should be a little bit safer. Let's hit start layer held simulation. There we go. Running in, running out. I don't think it's glitching. Can you get in and out? Oh, you can get in and out if you like really, really try. But yeah, it's still pretty smooth. Okay, nice. And I've heard of other people making smooth animations. Anyway, cool, cool, cool. Whew. All right, open up that camera. Hey, yo, let's see. Avatar scale was fun. Let's see what everybody's saying in the chat. Great to have you if you just joined us. I think I can make the UI node work if he's in my case. Yes, the Discord's very active. Users definitely answer questions over there. Yes, thank you everyone over there. I really appreciate you guys too. Null value point, you've been doing great recently. Really appreciate you. Control plus adds all imports, or just control plus down arrow enter. Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know. I don't know. I've never tried that. Let's try it. Backspace. Control plus comma. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. Control plus down arrow enter. Control plus. Nope, that's scaling. Control, comma. I have no idea. Honestly, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, Nick. I apologize. Control Z. Control save. Oh, it's periods. Control Shift Z. Control Z. Oh man, I'm messing myself up. Control Z. There we go. Control period. Move to file. Enter. Select existing file. I don't know. Honestly, I'm a little confused. I'd have to do some more looking into it. Okay. We'll stop there. Sorry. Next question. Does using a lot of bindings in the custom UI affect performance? Definitely. The more bindings you have, you're going to get some performance hits. It's typically custom UI performance that's hit. It can cause other issues too, surprising issues. You're supposed to only update your custom UI bindings once per second for the whole world, for all players. Awful, actually awful. So most things that we're using custom UI for are immediately breaking that. And you just got to be careful. In some cases, it seems to work. In other cases, it definitely can cause some issues. I've definitely broken a couple worlds by having too many binding updates. So be careful. You need to be on the red line. Oh, thank you. Apologies. All right, so we'll try that one more time. So we're just going to backspace component. That's an easy one. Okay, now that one's out. So then we do control period, update, import. Nice. Oh, that's so easy. Oh, that is so easy. I'm going to say, oh man, control period when on the right line. Very nice. Let's do that one more time for the whole thing. That was fun. Backspace, control period, enter, control period, enter. Ooh, I messed that one up. Discard. Let's try that again. Control period, update. Yep. And right here, control period, enter. Nice. Very cool. That's awesome. Love that. Okay, so now that we've learned all those cool new tricks, really appreciate that one. We're going to reveal this in File Explorer. We have our files here, and I promised to share them with you today before we closed out. So let me go ahead and open up the Google Drive. Let's go to Drive. Here's our assets. I've got an office hours folder. I do name these to match the office hours. So today is a new folder called 2025-04-27. There we go. And then we've only got scripts today, so I'm just going to drop all the scripts in. And scripts folder is here. And I'm going to recheck this teleport trigger before I drop it in there. Teleport trigger, spawn point, start. This is, yeah, it's okay. This is meant to be used with this tutorial. I hope somebody doesn't grab that and find out it doesn't work. It's because it requires pool data to be working, so it's kind of integrated. But yeah, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There they all are. Nice. So you guys can go get those immediately. The link is in the description for the Vidyuu Assets, and you'll find that in that folder. There's a bunch of other assets in here. We talked a lot about the, which one? Asset spawning one? No. IWP assets? No. IWCUI. This one. This is the one we talked about. There's a lot of scripts in here that are fun to take apart with regards to tracking time. We didn't have time to get into that one. Oh my gosh, I'm still here. Close that. I must have loaded into it because it saves the last thing. Got it. But yeah, so sorry we didn't get enough time to get into that white sword. Visits leaderboard could be something we talk about in the future. We talked about avatar scale, so we did that. We did Vine and did that. NPC teleporting we didn't get into. We did the drive. We are at the end, guys. So this is a final chance if you got a last question or two to get those questions in. We've had a lot of fun today. If you've just joined us at the end, there is, what, 2.5 hours here, 2 hours, 20 minutes of content to check out. We built all these cool things with Gen AI and all sorts of other little things that we've worked on here today. Lots of scripting, lots of Gen AI today. Lots of new features we checked out, and really great to have you guys through this stream and in office hours today. I don't expect to do office hours for a while. When I get back, I'll probably make some more tutorials before I get back, just like on a whim here and there. But I leave in 3 weeks, and then I'm gone for 3 weeks, and so probably not April, May, June. I'll see you for an office hours in June, and I hope to give you another update on the app I'm building. You got to see that cool little demo earlier. I hope you liked it. It's a cool demo, but it's just the start. There's like those cubes are being generated by feeding in vector locations for where I want to draw the triangles. It's a lot more impressive if you see the back end of it. It's pretty neat. So anyway, I look forward to showing you more in the future. Till then, White Sword asks, is the ability to make and sell shirts just randomized right now? It is not random, but it is not open. I don't have access. Most people don't have access. I don't think I can share how the access is spreading, but if I wasn't privy to access, I would suggest it's likely that they will release the feature at some point and it'll release to everybody. But the thing I would say also is that it's a monetized feature, so it seems likely that that means it's not going to be as widely released in general. So you'll have to have MHCP access, so apply to the MHCP. I believe the link for that's in the description as well. And so yeah, the shirts will probably always be locked down because they're a monetized feature, and that's that. And it'll probably be locked to the 3 places where Gen AI is available right now. My understanding is the creators selected, I don't know why they selected them, but they selected those creators probably because they have performant worlds. Maybe they are artists they know of. I'm not entirely sure. But it's a very small group of people to fix the bugs, and I hope they do. So there we go. All right, guys. I think without further ado, I'm going to let you go, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you in the next one. We might do some more live streams. They won't be scheduled like this one was, and they won't be open office hours as much. They'll usually be like topic oriented like the last couple live streams. I prefer doing the content as live. I love seeing your guys' questions and stuff in real time, and so hope you enjoy that. Maybe you'll catch me in one of those. And if not, I will see you next time. Bye!